Hello and welcome. Thank you for being in my life. Today we're going to talk about how to love better. And in that, we're going to talk about the 4 attachment styles. What Bowlby taught us on how to love and be loved and accept love, give love, and all that good stuff. Love is so good. We need to love and learn to receive people's love. So today, we're going to talk about that. Hello, Anthony, and welcome. Well, this is the English version. You're watching Anthony. You're watching the English Emotionally Focused Therapy. So, welcome. This is all that you're supposed to watch because you don't speak Portuguese, buddy. So stay here with me. Stay tuned. Today we're going to talk about the 4 attachment styles, right? So the way Bowlby discovered this was very interesting. He was born over 100 years ago in a very high level financially, wealthy family in England. And John, because he was in that situation financially, his family, at the time, you're not supposed to take care of your kids. Moms are not supposed to be there for their kids. In that time, they would have nannies, and nannies would take care of babies. And what would happen is that the kids wouldn't be connected to parents. They wouldn't understand that is a big connection. They wouldn't get that until later in life, And usually these kids would be brought up to just, walk properly or, dress properly, or everything is about appearance and everything else. So everything was about appearance. And the only time in the day that they would see their parents, listen to this, is interesting, was after supper during dessert, because kids bother. Yes, that's so sad. So in this case, they would be able to only see their parents after supper during dessert. So they would have supper away from parents, and then after the supper, they would come and sit in the table with the parents. Nannies would bring them, and then they would actually talk with the children. And it would usually go like this: "Oh, you're not eating properly, honey. You're supposed to eat, have etiquette." Da, 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 da. And everything was about being perfect, And so they didn't have a deep connection. John Bowlby was, grew up a little more, and he got interested in becoming a teacher. And so when he was older, he went to a special needs school, and he wanted to be an intern there, and he was. And when he worked there, he learned that love is a different thing. It's not what he got from his parents. It was completely different. And he understood that because he had to do that role with being there for the children, with, just empathizing with them or understanding their pain or loving on them whenever they're crying, just to hug them and be there for them, everything that you need in a parent. And so what happened is that he was like, okay, this is not what I got from my parents, so then what he did was that he was like, okay, so I gotta be a psychologist because this is all wrong. And he started studying psychology, and he became a great psychologist. And that's when one of the biggest gifts to psychology was what he found out was that love is not about doing things, but about the connection. And the way you're loved as a child will then echo on the way you love as an adult. Okay, so he found some of the attachment styles, and then later other attachment styles were found, but altogether there are 4, right? And so before I tell you this, I'm going to tell you about the still face experiment. Now that is an interesting experiment, and it's on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. That's the name, the still face, just still face experiment. And this is what happened. They would bring a little baby, maybe 6-7 month old happy baby, put him in a chair, and mommy would be very engaging to the baby, play around, and cameras are all around them, just filming mom and the baby and everything. And Mommy's engaging, baby's showing stuff, she's pointing, she's looking, she's laughing, she's playing. Hey, baby, just being a good mama. And then all of a sudden the doctor says, make the still face. And then she keeps on looking at the baby, but just no reaction. And so baby tries to reach mama. Mama doesn't change. Baby says something. Nothing. Baby screams. Nothing. Baby points. No reaction. Everything, no reaction. So the reaction of the baby starts getting worse and worse. So baby starts getting agitated, feeling, just there's something wrong. And then he gets mad and eventually he's crying, right? So that's exactly what we do in relationships. Whenever you feel like you lost a connection, like the person is there, but she's really not there, that's when you react, right? You react in a mean way, a loud way, or any other of the ways that I'm going to talk about today. And so that is how you can actually prove in relationships. That's why whenever you don't get the attention that you always wanted or you want in a particular situation with your partner, you talk louder, you get their attention, eventually you scream, because you don't feel heard. And I'm not saying it's correct. I'm saying this is a coping mechanism that has helped the baby, and we take that coping mechanism and we use it as an adult, and it doesn't work, right? So then this is what happens. The 4 attachment styles were found, and I'm going to teach you all 4 to you so that you understand the power of them, how important, how valuable they are, but also how to work around with yours. Start working with your attachment style and learn to attach or connect emotionally with other people in a healthy manner. Okay, so the first attachment style is the avoidant one, right? So the avoidant attachment style is exactly what you say, avoids emotions. What is he avoiding? Emotions, right? So you think of Matrix and how the bullets would just go and fly by the guy but would never hit him. That's the avoidant style. So the avoidant person, the avoidant attachment style person, he wants high levels of independence. Right? He's independent. He wants to do whatever he wants and all that stuff. Just independence is his main thing. Nobody can hold me back. I don't need anybody. All those beliefs, right? So the parents of this child, they were not present emotionally for them. They didn't know how to do that. And so what happens is that they believe that if they are independent, they then can fend for themselves. And because when they were expecting love or the comfort from parents, they never got. So they figure out, if my parents can't give me, nobody else will. So I need to fend for myself and trust myself with life. And so in this case, the person stops feeling the heart and starts just living on the logic, right? So based on the logic, the person is very, very logical, very, everything's about logic. This makes sense because of this and that. No emotions connected. There's no gray. There's only black and white, right? So this type of attachment style usually are people that work a lot. And they're the warrior type, they stand up and you see them, they're just so tough, right? I met a guy recently, he's like that. And so I will talk about, there's a little fly here. I would talk about emotions that he wouldn't know even what he was feeling. I was like, so how do you feel about that? He's like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. It's like, hold on, you just told me something very serious and very sad and everything's fine. Yeah, I can do it. I can deal with it. Okay, there's something wrong with this picture, right? Because we're supposed to feel sadness. It's okay because we're human, right? But they're not vulnerable. And feeling sad or crying are vulnerable things. They're things that they don't want to feel. They don't want to accept the fact that they are vulnerable or weak or sad or anything like that. So in this case, these people are they in the relationship, they want independence, right? In a way to get away from needing emotional support or attached, to be connected to the other person. So they want to say, I don't need you. I like you. We're good. But if you do anything wrong, you're gonna lose me because there's a million other people in the world. And so kind of like, you don't have my heart. You really don't have my heart. And that's sad, right? You don't want to get into a relationship with a person that you feel that they're really fully not there. Their heart is not really with you. So in this case, you see that there's this distance into the type of attachment style. The way he learned to love is to just be independent, not feel much things, just the feeling of everything is fine, everything is okay, I can do this, and all that stuff, instead of feeling the real stuff, right? The deep emotional things that we're supposed to feel like humans do, right? They don't feel comfortable to the attachment style. It's called avoidant attachment style. They don't feel comfortable being close emotionally to people. They have this tendency to not trusting people. So, for example, an avoidant comes into my office, I go, so who do you cry with? Who do you open up with? Who is the person or the people that you can lean on their shoulder and just be sad with, and they're there for you? Usually they go, no one. Like, obvious, no one. And I go, why? They go, I don't know. I just don't cry with anybody. Do you not trust anybody? They usually go, I guess not. I guess I don't. Yeah. And if you're like this is a problem. Because, and I'll tell you why it's a problem. Because we're supposed to need people, right? We're supposed to have a place where we take out our armor, right? Because this is the warrior type. So you're supposed to take out your armor and just be real. And just be yourself. Just not need a mask, not need anything. You just yourself there, right? So in this case, this attachment style, he needs to learn to take off his armor and say, I got hurt here, take care of me, please. Which is something that I always ask my avoidant patients. I go, would you tell your husband that you need him? No, I would never do that. And so I go, isn't that weird? They're like, no, it's normal. I said, so it's normal that you're married to somebody and you don't ask for their help. I kind of stopped and I have to make them think, right? Because that has to sound wrong. That has to sound like, okay, maybe I should be asking people for help. Maybe I should be comfortable with saying to my husband, the person that's supposed to be, or my wife, the person that is supposed to be there for me, that I need them, that I'm weak, that I feel weak, or I feel sad, or I feel rejected, whatever, right? So a place that you are just you. You're just real, like raw, no clothes, just naked, kind of in a way, naked emotionally. So, number 6, they see themselves as self-sufficient. This is a dangerous one. Yeah, they think that they're self-sufficient, and that they are invulnerable. They're not invulnerable. That's not the word. They are not fragile. They cannot be touched. They are above other people, right? So this feeling of dissociation from their feelings, right? They don't know. These are the people that you go, what do you feel about that? They go, I don't know, right? They don't have a whole bunch of people that they trust, that they're intimate with, right? They also have superficial friendships. So they don't let people in. So they could help other people. They could be there for people. People could cry on their shoulder, but nobody is their shoulder to cry on, right? So they are not that vulnerable. They like to be there for people, but they don't like to be vulnerable with anyone. They also, which is a sad one, they belittle other people's feelings. So a parent that is like this, they go, "Oh no, it's nothing." And the girl is like sad about losing her boy, the guy that she liked. And the mom goes, "No, it's okay. You get over it. It's fine. This is just a phase. It's gonna end. Don't worry about it." Like, hold on, I'm sad. Come to me, help me, hug me, be there for me, not tell me it'll end. Don't worry about it. It's wrong, right? To just belittle that feeling, not be there for somebody. In this case, this person never had that. And so they don't know how to give that, right? So if you have a partner that does not know how to be there for you empathetically, we need to learn books, get books on how to do that, but also understand that they didn't get this, so therefore how are they going to give you the same thing that they never had, right? So also the people with this attachment style, that is the avoidant, they help others. Usually they are helpers, but they don't get help from others. In this case, a lot of them have jobs that are like this, because what they want to do is that they want to answer the biggest question in their life. Nobody was there for me, so therefore I will be there for a lot of people, and that this will make my life have purpose. So they take care of, they are nurses, they are pastors, they take care of children or older people, they massage other people. They could have other jobs. It's just that they are kind of covering that part of them that says, nobody was there for me, but I will be there for other people. People around me will not suffer like this. But they never learn to be vulnerable, to have people be there for them. Why? Because they don't trust it. I have the tendency to be avoidant. Not everything in here, but a lot of things. Today, I am a lot healthier emotionally, and more open with my emotions, and ask for help, and ask for love, and ask for attention. But it's a tendency, right? And it's a tendency that we need to take care of. Okay. Also, the avoidant attachment style, they deny needing other people or intimate relationships. So they literally say, I don't need anybody. They literally say, I don't need intimate relationships. I could just have stuff that is superficial, So that is also wrong. That's not good. You need deep, meaningful relationship, people that you can count on, and they can count on you, right? That you can be. Also, one of the things that this attachment style doesn't like to do is to be accountable, right? To make other people accountable, and to be accountable to other people, to say, if you're there, if you need me, you can tell me, and vice versa. So the other person is able to tell you, why aren't you opening up with me? Why aren't you telling me your pain? Because I'm telling you all my pain. Why are you this? It can't be that you don't have pain, So it's something they don't like to be accountable in that way. So, but it's good to be caught in this. Like, if you have this issue, you need to have a person where you open up to, right? And they have this tendency also, which is not good, to make the feelings not important or not felt, or shut the feelings. Shut up. Shut them up, right? So there's sadness. They don't want to feel the sadness, so they get mad. They don't want to feel the sadness. And in reality, they're just sad, but they don't want to feel sad because it's weak to feel sad. So then they want to be mad. They choose mad, and then they're very avoidant. I have a patient that is like that. She's a tiny little lady, skinny. She's a beauty little person. She's tiny, but she's so mad. Tell her, so you put the gorilla suit, right? Because the gorillas are very, So I tell her, I talk to her about that, the gorilla suit. Let's just take off the gorilla suit and see what's underneath. What are you really feeling underneath, right? Oh, I'm just mad. I said, you can't be just mad about this. You can't be. There's more in there. Let's look inside, right? So kind of start learning to listen to your heart. Listen to what's really happening there in a vulnerable place, right? Usually the person that is avoidant, they're very focused on work. whatever they're working on. It could be their job, it could be activity, it could be television, it could be computer, it could be alcohol, it could be parties, it could be doing anything. Just get busy, busy, not really feeling what's happening, right? So avoidant people do that. These are people that seem like they have good self-esteem, but it's not healthy self-esteem. It's more or less self-esteem. It's not a good one. You don't want this self-esteem because it takes you to also feel maybe better than other people in a way, because you feel like, oh, I don't need anyone. I'm not that weak. It's not real. That's not real. We all need people. So the second attachment style is called the anxious one. The anxious attachment style, they desire high levels of intimacy, approval, and people to accept them, to receive them, to welcome them. They always have this need, right? So they have this tendency to be excessively dependent on their partners. So they're clingy. They have this tendency of, if they're both anxious, they become like one. The couple that they don't get away from each other. The other one, they're always like glued together. Those are both anxious people. So, but if the anxious marries an avoidant one, the avoidant is always going to be running away from the anxious one, right? And so the avoidant is always going to feel like overwhelmed, and the anxious one is always going to feel alone. And the other one's going to feel alone because it's too much for whatever this one is providing. It's too much for him. So, and this happens a lot. This happens more often than not. So most of the couples are, one side is avoidant, the other side is anxious, right? So in this case, these people, the anxious attachment style, they had parents that neglect them, that inconsistently was there for total. So it was there. The love was not consistent. The emotional care was not consistent, and because of that, they became very insecure, and they're always waiting for a threat, right? So they doubt their own value because it's based on this thing that if mom and dad was never really there for me, if mom and dad never really loved me, how am I ever going to believe that somebody else will, that other people will? It's just, that's not going to happen. Nobody, you're always expecting something to go wrong, always expecting the doom, right? The big end, right? So, and at the same time, these are children that were brought up in a house where mom was close and would come close, but then they wouldn't stop crying. You've seen people like this. Kids are lost in the supermarket, and then mom grabs the kid doesn't stop crying. It's like, it doesn't get soothed. Why? Because they're like, you are never there for, that's what they're saying. You're never there for me. Now you want to be here for me? You disappeared on me. So this happens in relationships as an adult too. Like, husbands and wife, they have a fight, and then so she starts crying, and the husband goes and tries to soothe her. She goes, no. She doesn't receive. She doesn't stop crying. It doesn't go in. The love doesn't go in. It's because deep down there's this unworthiness inside of them. They feel unworthy of love because it goes back to the parents. If my own parents don't even love me, they're not there for me, how am I to expect that you, a complete stranger, will actually love me? So their biggest fear is that they're never ever gonna be loved fully, wholly, completely. So that's a sad thought. If you have this anxious tendency, you have to understand that people do love us, and I think God loves us fully and perfectly. But I can't say that all love is unconditional love, but there is a lot of people that love us unconditionally. There are. So we need to heal those parts of us that says that no one will accept us or love us. That's a big deal, very important to do. One of the saddest thing that anxious attachment style person does, is to blame themselves for the partner's because the partner does not receive their love, is not giving everything they give. So then they blame themselves. So because the anxious person is anxious, so they're always trying to prove their value. So one day they give you a hug and a kiss, and then another day they give you I don't know, text message of love, and then another day they give you this and that and that. You're never gonna measure up to everything, right? So there's no way, right? Because they give to receive. This is just a trade-off. They think love is a trade-off in a way, and so you're always going to be owing them something, because it's never going to be enough, because they're always giving you something, and they're always like, they have this tab, and so the problem here is that, one, you're never going to give everything exactly the way they want it, on the way that they're expecting it, on the way that they give it. And then so they blame themselves, and also when you do give it, they can't receive it because they don't feel worthy. This is very confusing. It's very ambiguous. So that's why the second name of this attachment style is ambiguous. Ambiguous attachment style, or anxious. And so they are intolerant, and they are difficult in receiving love. So for example, one of the ways they tell you they need you is by telling you everything that you did wrong. So you didn't do this or that or this or that or that. I did this, and this, and you just didn't even do half of this one. So therefore, you don't love me, right? So it's very, I'm not going to say it's hard to love them, because most of these people are in relationships. What I'm saying is, there are moments that we need to kind of communicate what we actually are feeling, instead of what the other person did or did not do. So instead of saying, oh, you didn't buy me the things that I asked you to buy, the groceries, you just came straight home, you completely disregard me, that means you don't love me. Instead of saying that, you say, when you forgot to bring me the groceries, I felt so forgotten, so unimportant, because I know you were on the phone with your friend, and your friend seems more important to me than I am, right? So that is being real. Instead of saying, you don't care about me, you don't do everything that I ask, you don't give me as much love as I give you, the pointing finger, the blaming is never helpful, right? So in this case, this attachment style is an attachment style that the person has low self-esteem. They feel less than. They are always thinking they're never going to be fully, wholly loved, right? And whenever they describe the dynamic of their household where they were brought up, it has fights, it has conflict and unresolved narratives. So things don't get resolved. So there's a fight, there's a problem, nobody talks about it. The next day you forget, you just ignore, and it just goes on. And a kid doesn't know better. They don't know to confront those things. So obviously things seem out of place, not complete, not clear. It is what it is, kind of a feeling. And so eventually when they get old, they're always waiting for threat, right? Because there's always a threatening moment when they were brought up, right? So there's a type worse than this. So this one is waiting for threat to be left and to not, just be alone. The next one is worse. It's called the disorganized attachment style. Now, the disorganized is trauma. It's people that have gone through trauma, and they have feelings that are mixed about intimate relationship. They don't know if they want it, but they're afraid of it, they're scared. It's just very hard. So his parents, the people that have the disorganized attachment style, their parents were scary. They would hurt. The house was not a safe place. So they desire intimate relationship just like everyone else, but they feel uncomfortable with intimacy or emotional intimacy, or even sometimes just sexual intimacy. So in this case, the attachment that has this is disorganized or based in trauma, they suffer because they feel unworthy of love. But this one is very deep unworthiness of love, right? The other one is a little bit, this one sometimes none, but this one is unworthy. Like, I don't deserve you, I don't deserve this type of love. The parents of this child could be alcoholics or drug addicts, where their relationship is threatening all the time. So you don't know if the parent is going to come home not with alcohol and then beat them, or come home normal and be nice. So they're always watching for danger, right? And so they see themselves as unworthy and of even the love of the partner, unworthy of even presence that the partner gives them. There's a history of trauma in their life. At one point there was trauma, because you can't get disorganized just by no trauma. And neglect is trauma. Okay, if you've gone through neglect in your emotional life with your parents, that's trauma. Okay, they feel blamed in any problem that shows up in the relationship. It's their fault, right? They may be agitated. They also may have a chaotic narrative in their head, or even as they speak. They don't remember their stories fully. They don't remember how, spaces, times in their life, just they don't remember. Because this is called dissociation. When you dissociate, is because your mind has a hard time accepting what you went through, and therefore it kind of doubts, it kind of closes or deletes, or tries to delete that memory. It's in there, but it tries to cut all the communication to that memory so that you don't remember, because it was so traumatic, right? So they may be happy people. It doesn't mean that they're unhappy. They just don't have a lot of connection to their heart. They don't know what they're actually feeling about things. I have a parent, family member, okay, in my family, and we just had a cousin that died because of COVID. And I turned to her and I say, so how are you feeling about this person's death? Are you sad? No, I'm not sad. Everything's okay. They went to heaven. All is well. Everything's fine. I wanted to be him. And I was like, you're happy that your cousin died? Yeah, they're in heaven. And all this. So I repeated. I said, so your cousin, who you liked, you would see all the time, and you had a great connection with, all of a sudden is not here, and you're happy. Like, yeah, they went to heaven. I wanted to be in heaven and be blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. Guess we're not going anywhere with this conversation, are we? So I have to to me, it's just so like, what's happening? Why are you human? Are you like a robot? What happened? God gave us feelings, right? God gave us these feelings, and we're supposed to be vulnerable. We're supposed to be real. Jesus cried. If we were not supposed to cry, I don't think Jesus would have cried. He was a normal person, right? That would cry. So these people, they have low self-esteem, but also they're not in touch with their feelings. Sometimes they do feel a lot. So sometimes in this situation, it's not that they don't feel things. The avoidant person, the avoidant one is the biggest non-feelers, I put it that way, right? Yes, I did cry, Anthony, when my cousin died. Yes, I am normal. So, but they dissociate, right? So these people have low self-esteem. They don't trust their partner's intentions, and because they couldn't even trust their parents, why would they trust their partners, right? And they may wake up in the middle of the night with nightmares, screaming and sweating and things like that. So that's PTSD reaction. If you have something like that, you need to look to, you gotta do therapy. EMDR is great for that. They do not tolerate ambiguities. So things that don't seem right to them, they will not tolerate. They're intolerant. So one of the things that happen in the disorganized attachment style is that they want relationships. So this is the disorganized and this is the healthy one. So they get intimate. Start getting closer and closer, intimate in a way that emotional intimacy. So whenever they're close, this one reacts, gets mad at something or fights about something or mistreats the other one or something happens, and then they get into a fight. They separate, right? So they're like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that, and all that stuff, and then they come close again. As soon as they're close again, there's another problem, right? So there's always chaos. There's always a problem. There's always a narrative of chaos, fights, right? So this is the hardest attachment style, the one that people suffer the most, the person suffers the most, and the partner suffers too. But also, this is the person that we need to run to therapy. Run, just run right now. Call Psychology Today. Call me, find me there. I'm creating a challenge, which has been hard for me to put it up on the site because of my personal life, but I'm gonna put up a challenge called Mirror on the Wall Challenge, where you're gonna learn how to help and heal your heart with this mirror work. It's very powerful, and it's done in audios where you speak to the mirror and you say to the mirror the things that you're supposed to say with affirmations and positivity, so that you start healing your heart with the power of God's word and also with your belief, so it heals all the different types of attachment style. And I'm going to put it up soon. Just stay tuned and I'm going to put it up. But this is the worst attachment style to have, really. And I would advise, if you do have these tendencies and you have gone through trauma, to find help. Now, the last and the healthiest, the best, most amazing attachment style is the healthy attachment style, which is called the secure attachment style, right? So the secure attachment style is so awesome because they have positive opinions about their partner, positive opinions about the relationship. They have good self-esteem. They don't feel better than anybody. They have good self-esteem, but they know that everybody has their own value. They also mention have satisfaction in their relationships, harmony, and they know that relationships have ups and downs. They know that problems will arise and that they're going to need to work on these problems together. And then they feel prideful or happy or, just honored to have that person in their lives, and that they get to work on the problems in their relationship together. They're just thankful to have that person. Usually they have had healthy relationships with their parents. Parents were there for them. They knew how to ask for love, and they give love. They know to ask for love. They say, I feel alone. I need your help. I need a hug. Or they notice the other person, hey, you look sad. Are you okay? Things like that. Those are questions and things that the safe or secure attachment style talks. They are there for the other person, but also they allow their hearts to be vulnerable too. They say when they feel rejected or they feel alone, right? They don't always go to mad to defend or to protect their ego. They go to sad. They speak from a soft place, a real place. Like, yeah, that made me mad at first, but I'm really, really sad that this and this and this happened. it was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Things like that. You know, they are real about their emotions. They know how to take out the armor and be there for the other person and show their wounds and ask to be healed by just being heard, right? Also, they feel comfortable with intimacy, you know, with asking for love, with asking for forgiveness even. When they talk about the relationship, they smile, right? They don't have difficulty opening up about their vulnerabilities. They are, you know, they are ready to say, I need you. I need you right now. Be here with me. They feel safe, even though they're far away from the partner. They feel safe far away from the partner without feeling insecure or feeling like they are going to be left. They don't have that feeling. Also, they have good self-esteem, and the parents of this person, the safe attachment style, they were there emotionally for them, and they learned how to love, and they understood that love works in a process of give and take, but also in the listening and being there for the person. It's a give and take, but not to like have a tab on the other person, but rather to, hey, I give you what I have, and you give me what you got, and I'll take it, and we're good. You know, this is what we have for each other. And so these are the 4 attachment styles. I really appreciate you staying with me. Bye bye.